All right, Ariana, turn it on. Let's go live. Tell me when we're good.
All right, we're live.
Great. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. So today we're chatting with James Walsh and Michelle Walsh from Mud Puddle and Yard Owl. So what we're trying to do is a check-in with different New Paltz business owners, to just see what our neighbors have been up to during the pandemic, and also maybe share some ideas about how you've come up with your own coping skills, for your business, and just as all of us are wrestling with this challenging time. So I'll hand it over to James and Michelle.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Yes, again, this is James and Michelle from Mud Puddle and Yard Owl. We have had Mud Puddle in New Paltz now for 18 years now in the Wash Street Market. We roast coffee there, we make breakfast and lunch, and we've had Yard Owl in Gardner since 2005? 2015, yeah. Hard to keep things straight these days. Yeah, and Yard Owl, we started our tasting room in Gardner, and we serve our beers there and like a light menu. So yeah, so we've been closed at both businesses since the 16th of March, and we started to do some just some takeaway, like coffee by the pound, and some other foods, very limited food items that like breads that Michelle's been baking. And at Yard Owl, we've been selling 4 packs of cans, and I've been selling pickled vegetables outside for pickup. So that's essentially where we're at right now. Is we're just kind of in a holding pattern, trying to figure out the next move, and if we're going to continue to have a sort of online contactless payment service that we can maybe start slowly rolling out some more food items at the Mud Puddle again.
So tell us a little bit about like how have you handled staffing? Because you employed a number of young people, probably young people who were going to school at SUNY, and then you also had some staff at Yard Owl. Tell us a little bit about how you've handled staffing.
Well, fortunately for Mud Puddle, all of our employees went home to their families. Every last one of them. All of their parents wanted them home, and all of their parents want them to stay home. So it's just been James and I.
And same thing at Yard Owl. I had 2 guys that were helping me in the brewery, and they were both college students, but they had now their parents wanted them to go back home. So if, like Michelle said, fortunately we are the employees that we have at the Mud Puddle are really not dependent totally on our employing them to function in life. So we're fortunate in that situation. So we're, and as far as rehiring people goes, I think maybe the best, our model is going to be just a strictly family run business. Michelle and I and our oldest daughter are the only ones that are going to be working there for quite a while, as we can foresee. And a Yard Owl, I can pretty much run Yard Owl by myself for now, and to get through this time, so we don't have that additional payroll to add to the cost.
Got it. I mean, I feel like all of us are probably at best guessing how things might return to some semblance of normalcy. But do you have any sense of like what a reopening of both of your businesses could feel like in terms of, scaling up to, getting where you were previously?
I personally feel that's going to be a slow, gradual reopening. First we'll start with the takeout outside the front door of Mud Puddle, and then I guess hopefully as restrictions start to be eased over time, we could slowly move to a model where there's less people in the store at one time. We'll take some seating out probably. Maybe spread out some tables and chairs out front in the patio area a little bit further, so there could be some, but it's tough at the Wash Street Market because it's such a communal area and people are so drawn to gather there that it's hard to control but that's why we decided to close right away on that one day, on that Monday, because we just didn't think it was responsible enough because Wash Street Market is just such a draw for people, and even when we had closed, people were still gathering outside And before they had really put more restrictions on it. So as the restrictions start to lessen, I think it'll be a gradual. It's not going to be a full on, here we are, we're open, everything's the same. It's going to have to be a very slow, gradual reopening for both businesses.
Yeah, I would imagine we would probably we'll all be waiting for guidance from New York State, for
Right.
things like cafes and
Mhm.
Yard Owl, even though it might not be officially considered a bar, in some ways it functions as a gathering space similar to a bar. So we'll
Certainly.
probably have to wait for that type of guidance.
Even when they do, I think there'll be restrictions. I feel like there will be restrictions that go along with it as well. And, spacing and even some social distancing is going to happen again. More contact. We're really trying to work on this contactless payment system, which we already thankfully had set up pretty much before this had all started with our new Square registers. So there's a lot of less contact between the customer and the person taking the order or making the order.
And then how have you, can you give us a little insight in terms of like how you've managed like your own bills, rent and vendors, have you figured out any, good ways to handle that you could share with other businesses?
So far we're just taking it day by day and paying what we can. Of course, we try to pay all the employees first. And I was able to do that. And now that they're home, we don't have payroll right now. So that's taken care of. The rent isn't due for a few weeks, so that's good. April or May 1st. So I'm just, we're just making what we can with what we're selling, putting it in the bank and trying to pay as much as we can daily or weekly.
And as far as the vendors go, I mean, before we kind of had a sense of what was before this kind of happened, a week before this all kind of happened, we kind of had a sense something was going down. So I had a Yard Owl. I purchased extra grains and I purchased, so I have a stockpile of that kind of stuff. So I was lucky enough to be able to have that. And so there's not too much overhead there with the bills. I mean, there's the rent, of course, to consider and the electricity and stuff, but we've been managing the bills so far. So,
and have you tried to pursue assistance through the SBA programs that the federal government has rolled out?
I did apply for the disaster, the very first one that was pretty simple. It only took about 10-15 minutes, and I haven't heard anything back at all for both businesses. So I don't know.
And I just read an article today that the SBA funds are starting to dry up now, and it's going to be even harder to get these loans. So. And I'm sort of dubious about whether, I know they're saying it's free money, everyone grab at it, but I'm concerned that there's going to be some kind of payment on the back end of this, because nothing is really going to be given away for free. I mean, especially during this time, there's no one's had any revenue coming in, even the federal government or the state. So they're going to want their money back in a big way. And I just feel like maybe it's not the best time for us anyway, I mean, we'll probably try to follow through on the one loan and we'll see how that goes. But the free money thing doesn't seem like it's going to be a real thing.
So I imagine you use a local banker, or, you have a banking relationship. Has the bank that you've worked with, has folks there been helpful with any sort of guidance?
We use Wells Fargo and they're closed. I mean, the
Okay.
branch office in New Paltz, I haven't talked to them at all. And that's who if we tried to do the PPP loan, I would have to go through Wells Fargo, but it seems like I don't even know if they're taking any more applications. So we kind of just figured we wait and see if they, more information comes out about it.
Got it. And I know that you've participated in Ulster County's resiliency program. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's been like?
Oh yeah, that's been amazing. That was, besides helping people in need, just feeling like you're working again, and you go in at a certain time, you gotta get this stuff done. The hustle and bustle is back for a day, one day a week or every other week. So that's been really, really great, and that's definitely going to help pay some bills. Unfortunately, I have my mail switched from Mud Puddle to our house, and I haven't gotten any mail yet. So we've done it a few times, and you do get a check, which is great, but I haven't gotten any because all the mail is backed up. So I'm waiting for that, but that'll come eventually. But yeah, that's been awesome. Very happy to be a part of that.
Got it. And from what I understand, liquor stores are probably one of the businesses that are actually doing well during this challenging time. Has Yard Owl been able to participate in that at all?
I mean, we've been selling cans. Usually I noticed that the weekends are where we're busiest. I mean, we're not like a liquor store. So, I mean, liquor stores have a wide variety of different stuff. There's wine, there's all that kind of stuff there, spirits. So, I mean, ours is kind of a specific, and our beer is very specific. So, we have our following. So hopefully, we'll get through selling the cans on the weekend for now. But I haven't experienced an explosion. I mean, our model at Yard Owl, the business is a retail model. It's based on bringing people to the brewery. That's really part of the whole experience. So it's hard to translate that into a to-go kind of situation.
Got it. You want to tell us a little bit about like what's like a regular day like for you as business owners and also parents? Like, what are you guys doing? How involved in now being like a homeschooler are you?
Right. Without a degree in education, it's been tough.
It's been challenging, especially some of the subjects I haven't seen. But we are, we're trying to maintain some kind of routine that we had previously. I still get up very early in the morning. I go to Yard Owl. I do a little bit of work there. I come home, make breakfast for the kids. Michelle goes to work at the Mud Puddle for a while. She's still roasting coffee. So she has that time to do her work there. And then later in the day, I'll usually go back to Yard Owl to fill can orders that people have placed online so they can pick up later in the day. But the homeschooling thing is an extremely challenge. We have 3 children, and they each have very different personalities. And it's hard to sit down for periods of time and really try to focus on the stuff, especially since some of the subjects I haven't even seen since I was in high school, or like some things that you don't remember, and you're like, how am I supposed to review this and go over this if I can't really? Yeah, it's like a whole separate thing. So it's been challenging for sure.
And what do your kids think? How do you think they'll describe what it's been like, staying at home and having their parents not be busy with their businesses the way they normally would be?
Yeah, it's been in that sense, it's been very nice. We've never, we opened up the Mud Puddle before we were even married, so we didn't have any kids. We're still, so we've never really been able to spend, full days. Well, we have, but not very rarely. So it has been nice to be home a little more with the kids, and they're definitely bonding more. They've been together for
6 weeks now.
6 weeks.
They haven't
24 hours a day.
They're doing pretty good. I mean, luckily the weather's been cooperative. I mean, some days are not the best, but I mean, we've been able to go outside. We have property that we have woods on, and we have neighbors next door. They have children, even though we're socially distancing with the neighbors. The kids can still sort of play apart from each other, so they have that outlet. And so it's we're trying to make do and trying to figure out the best thing to do. There's, TV watching and, trying, there's, it's
a lot of baking.
Whatever works in the minute. You have an idea in the morning and then it goes awry by that, we try to adapt to the day as as things go on. It's challenging, but I do enjoy the challenge of trying to adapt when it comes to and the businesses and also personally trying to adapt to the situation.
Got it. So we have a few folks on the Zoom call, some other local New Paltz businesses. You guys want to ask James or Michelle any questions particular to their businesses? And then maybe we can open it up, because it seems like there's some discussion in the chat about just business challenges in general. But let's see if there's anything specific as far as Mud Puddle or Yard Owl at first, and then we'll open it up more broadly.
Okay.
Have a specific question. Oh, Lagusta, you're on mute. You got to take yourself off mute.
Cute. Oh, okay. Hi. I just want to say that we've had pretty good luck with that Square store. If you need any help setting it up, the first
Yeah.
few days were like kind of a hell of figuring it out. But now we've got it pretty down and we're using it. It's working pretty well for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know that one really great thing is that people really want their coffee. So
Right.
good. So we just put our coffees that we have on there and people can
Yeah.
because just taking phone calls for every single order was making me bonkers.
Oh yeah, no.
God.
Yeah. We've been using the Square too, and it's been working out really well. But then I get phone calls from people that say they don't understand how to use the online
I know.
store. And I feel like, is this happening more often? And people are just saying, forget it, it's too annoying. So I mean, we have somebody that helps us with the Square, and it's been great, like I said. But then there's these moments where people call and they say they can't figure it out. So I'm like, how often is this happening?
I feel like there's always that. I mean, we're still doing phone orders, but I do feel like it's been a really good way to we just had a 6 feet apart managers meeting here at commissary, and we talked about how to really utilize that website to do add-on things, and we're trying to do just more groceries or things like that to kind of add to check totals, because same thing with us, we haven't gotten any federal funds, and we're just kind of ridiculous. So but here we are.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
hopefully it all starts to work out with the Square thing, because I foresee this Square thing being a permanent part of our business.
Yeah, nice.
Me too.
Very
It'd
convenient.
be nice for people to order online, even when we're open again, and people to order online. If they don't feel comfortable coming in still at that point. And then I really foresee that as being a huge part of the future of the business, both businesses.
Yeah. The thing I think is annoying about it is it's just one more thing to update. You have to make sure things are in stock always, or else you have to call people, and that's annoying. So it's kind of irritating, but it's definitely better than being on the phone with someone for 10 minutes to ring them up for a latte, which was
I
know.
I did not live that way.
Right. Yeah, it has been great.
So
that's all I
And
have.
I'll probably ask you questions later about Square.
yeah, yours looks nice. The way you streamline yours looks nice on there.
It's just having our 22-year-old social media
I
person.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just ask her everything.
I know.
I know, right?
Yeah, Noelle McEntee has been helping.
Oh yeah, she's
So-
great.
And she just retired from Square, so she knows.
Yeah. She's the one who suggested that we do that, and I was like,
Right.
great idea. Yeah,
I know.
that's so smart. So
Awesome.
yeah, cool.
Nice seeing you.
I see you.
All right.
Anyone else with some questions? How about some broader discussion about what your experience is as business owners, and trying to navigate whether there are loans or grants? Anyone want to share something with the group?
I'll share.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, just say who you are then.
Oh, I'm Teresa Fall, and I'm one of the owners at the Parish Restaurant, and I own Jarred Wine Pub. So I wanted to share about the payroll protection program, which now they've run out of funds, but we did get accepted. We applied through Ulster Savings Bank a week ago, and we were accepted within 24 hours, and I was funded for the parish today. I haven't decided about Jarred or not yet, because they can't answer questions that I would like some answers to, such as, can I pay myself at both businesses? As an owner, I pay myself at both businesses.
Right.
You just never know. It can be tricky in these circumstances, because they said the funds will be forgiven if you use 75% of it for payroll.
Right.
And the funds are figured out by a formula. So if I'm paying myself at two businesses, is that going to be a red flag? Is that an issue? And
Right.
we don't know, because they said more information to follow. And I said, I asked if they're following payroll numbers or payroll amount of employees. Because as you guys know, you have a ton of part-time employees.
Right.
You have work 6 to 8 hours a week. A full-time
Yeah.
employee is 40 hours. So it would take 4 of them for at least for time hours. So, and they also can't answer that. They said they think it's going to go based on the numbers, because I'd rather bring back a handful of people full time to the parish and just for more hours and actually have a second person on, because how it operates now, you have one person and the chef, and that's it. But it'd be nice for someone to run food out to the cars, etc. So I haven't decided on Jarred yet. I probably will do it. The worst case scenario is we have to pay that money back, and it's a 1% amount, interest. but I do think it was a perfect fit for the parish. It's going to help us.
Yeah.
We cut everyone's the 3 people we left on, we had to cut significantly. So now we can bring them back up and then bring a few people more.
Right.
But we are one, and I haven't talked to many people who've got it, but I think Ulster Savings, because it was a smaller bank, if you
Yeah.
apply today. But anyone who's in line for it now and been approved will receive the funds. But if you haven't heard back, then the funds are exhausted. But they're going to try for another round.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll just go to Ulster Savings.
Yeah, definitely. Whoever your local bank is the way to go. Now, Gus and I were just talking about that on the chat. Because the bigger banks, you have to think of there's multi-million-dollar companies applying for this, millions and millions of dollars. I mean, $10,000. It's not going to make or break this bank,
Right.
locally. But if you did like Wells Fargo or Chase, that a lot of those people had no luck getting in. I heard one thing back from the disaster relief fund. Remember that $10,000 one that came my way? And it said it would pay $1,000 per employee up to $10,000. But then it didn't say fill out how many employees you have. It was just like a general email. And I only received one of those emails, and I applied for both businesses within like the same 10-minute period. So I don't know if anyone has really gotten any money from that or heard about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, thank you.
yeah, it's all tricky. There's no right. It's a risk. Like taking these loans could be a risk. And the biggest risk is you have to pay it back, but at least it's only
Right. Yeah.
Right. Already paying that small amount back, but the parish, it's a lot more. So that'd be rough. But the idea is that extra 25% helps you pay utilities, like your whatnot, to get through the next couple of months.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question or something they want to share at this point?
Hi, it's Rich Sudo. I'm a neighbor and not a New Paltz business owner. I'm also a consumer of many of these Faces businesses and a friend of Tim's. I'm curious, and this just might be an abstraction, but if anybody wants to indulge me, I think it's relevant to everybody. What our thoughts are around what business will be like when we come back to business, in terms of the way we'll engage with customers, the way customers will engage with each other, how a location like Yard Owl versus Mud Puddle might rearrange itself. I'm just curious to hear whether anyone's started thinking about what that's going to be like as both a business owner and I have a curiosity as a neighbor.
Yeah, I think it's going to require, like I was saying earlier, I think it's going to require spacing of seating. There's going to have to be some kind of flow. I mean, for Yard House in such a huge space, it'll be easier to space things out a little more. And we have a huge outside area too, where we could space some tables out. As far as Mud Puddle goes, a little tighter in the space there. So it's going to be a little challenging to try to figure out how the flow is going to go so customers can feel comfortable walking in and having some space and it being able to order and being able to leave or sit somewhere where there's some spacing. So we're going to have to space the tables out. Like I said, we're going to have to figure out the way the flow is going to work a little better. We're trying to work now at the Mud Puddle, doing some renovations, try to make things a little bit more efficiently. So when we open up, it could be a better way to serve people. And like I was saying before, also the contactless payment, I think is going to be the way of this forward. I think most people are not going to want to have to exchange any money and they're going to be using more contactless payment as that proceeds.
I feel very nervous about that. Like not the contactless payment, but like before we closed, there were a couple days where I was basically just being a hall monitor here and we had like college kids that were coughing and I went up to them and was like, hey, it's really not safe for you to be in here. And like the idea of me having to spend the rest of my life or hopefully just the next couple months telling people to spread out in here, just talking about it, I feel like
I know
exactly
because we're such communal spaces too. The same thing like ours. It's a community space, and people gather there, and they want to gather, they want to talk, they want to hang out.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do you police
And
that
like,
kind of stuff? I don't know. How do you
we
police
pushed our tables far apart, and then kids would come in and just scoot them back together.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
something that happened at Washer Market. When we closed, people were just taking the tables that were outside and moving them together and sitting there because they were like. Yeah. And I it's hard to even think that. There's got to be some creative solution to
Yeah.
figure out a way to.
I heard on NPR this morning that what they're doing in China, they might try to do here, which I can't imagine, which would be that you station someone at every business with a temperature thing.
Oh, I know.
These people's temperatures not
frightening,
unless you don't have a fever, which I'm like, that's
Well, that might be a
my new job.
reality.
Like that
I
sounds
know.
terrible.
It could be a reality though. Which
Yeah.
That's what they did. That's what they did in Sierra Leone with the Ebola crisis. Before you went to any gas station or any supermarket, you had to have your temperature taken. But the thing is, with this virus, you're contagious without showing symptoms, etc. So I don't think that would be a solution.
Yeah, and you could just have a fever, and then you'd be like, you can come in and.
I mean, think about it. It's like Lyme disease season.
And it's not like this is not
Yep.
China, where China has a government that's run much more different than ours. This is America. People are like, you can't. Because I have a fever. You're gonna tell me I can't come into some place. It's America. Or you can tell me I can't sit next. There's already protests about people going back to work. People saying this shouldn't be a thing and it should be social. There's protests that are happening. So I mean, it's gonna be hard to tell somebody that in a large country like this that they can't do certain things like that. So.
Well, back to what Richie was asking about what this is going to look like when businesses do reopen. My assumption is that it's going to be a slow process, just like it may have happened super quickly. But remember how we had to go down to 50% capacity?
Yeah.
I can't imagine they're just going to open the gates unless there's a vaccine. So it's going to be and then it's also, here's the question. Is that enough money doing that little business to keep your business afloat?
No.
Not likely. You can only serve X amount of customers. I mean, think about a tourist town like ours. Like we get through our winter because of our summer. You guys pay your rent ahead in the summer. I pay my rent ahead in the summer. We're not going to have that this year. It is super scary. And to think we can only serve a fraction of the amount of people that we normally would to bring in that income. I mean, the one thing is you have less in payroll that, there'll be less in payroll. But still the amount of that's what makes our whole year is the business that we made through October.
Yeah. We were thinking of streamlining the menu, even putting less items on there. So there's not as much stock to have around at first, just to sort of lessen that vendor bill or a produce bill that we have to pay, just kind of streamline the menu to a few certain items and just have like the payroll thing you're saying, just have Michelle and I work and that's really about it.
Yeah. I mean, and I was just thinking the other day about my inventory. It's going to cost me a huge amount of money to re-inventory to open back up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking. Streamline.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be, I'll be like, I have 3 wines and not 12.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Or just a few
put out
sandwiches
15 grand just to get open.
Yeah,
I know.
I know.
I think that's why we're trying to pivot to if we order a case of asparagus, let's put that 1 pound of asparagus on our website. And you can add that on when you're ordering a latte.
Right.
It seems it's not like the most fun thing that that's not what I want my job to be, packing up asparagus. But if I have to do it to keep the business open, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of creative ways and make food that people could make at home, and things like that. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. It is very scary thinking about the summer and fall and our busiest times of year.
Right.
I know. And this is not gonna, it's not gonna happen. I mean,
and that's the most fun too, which, it's fun to have that hustle bustle, trying to get it all done. That's why we all like this, right?
I don't know, Michelle, that might
It's actually been nice to have a little downtime.
Yeah, nice. But I miss the challenge of a line and, you're trying to function and everyone's working, like a well-oiled machine, that's whenever, when we have all the employees.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just going to have to try to adapt and survive. That's really how it's going.
Right. That's not going to be for a long time.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
You can get your adrenaline from how you're going to pay the bills, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny for us because we just started paying rent on our you can see in the background, our new room,
Nice.
Ignore that fridge that I'm selling, but so it's like, wow, our rent is double now. So that's a good this. But weirdly, the chocolate shop has been bonkers with people shipping with, ordering on the internet. So that's been really good.
That's good.
But we don't have a ton of labor to do that. So
right.
I'm happy that that side of business can kind of support commissary a little more, but it just feels like everything's on a thread and I'm sure I'll feel the same way. It just feels pretty scary, but here we are.
but we're all in it together too. And that's the thing, the whole world, right? We're all
Yeah.
in the same position, which is
Yeah, and now it's been 30 minutes, so our goal is to keep this conversation and, do it at least weekly, but, keep it tight within a 30-minute time period. And I think exactly what you just said, Michelle, the idea is to, compare notes and, anyone who comes up with a good idea, share it with your neighbors, share it with the businesses. That's how we're going to figure this out as a community. So
Yeah.
thanks, James and Michelle, for
thank you.
Thanks,
for
Dan.
sharing
Thank
your
everyone.
thoughts
Thanks, guys.
today.
Thanks,
We'll
guys.
talk
Always
to
good
everyone
see you.
soon.
See you too.
All right, hang in there,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.